Hello everyone, it's Jennifer. Today I have a little bit of a different video for you. Instead of my typical cards, I'm going to show you some fun little gift tags that I've created to go inside succulent plants. Succulents and cactuses are another love of mine. I often show my collection on Instagram and many people have asked about them, so I thought I'd do a video. In this video, I'm going to show you how I created these little tags using some colored inks and Gamsol to go inside of succulent plants that I plan to give as gifts to teachers and friends. This is a very inexpensive gift. In another video, which I'll link to here and in my YouTube description, I'll show you how I easily go about planting these succulents. It's really easy to do. I'm not an expert, but I thought I'd show you how I go about doing it. But in this video, I'm going to stick to these little tags. I will be using a new stamp set from Simon Says Stamp that has all of these succulent images. I am so excited about this. I've been begging for succulent stamps for some time now. What I like is that you can stamp the bottoms and the tops separately. So you can have colored little cups or pots and then colored succulents for the top in two different colors. Now normally when I stamp an outline image like this, I stamp it in black and then I color it in with Copic markers or colored pencils. But I thought I'd show you today how you can actually stamp the outline in a colored ink and still color it. So I am using Simon Says Stamp dye inks. These are fantastic to use with Gamsol. They don't bleed or anything, so they're perfect for the colored pencils. So you'll see that I am using kind of a reddish color on the bottom for the cup here, and a green for the top, and you can see how easily these kind of piece together. Now I am going to add a little bloom coming out of this one. I like that there's all these little pieces that you can piece together in a variety of ways, and I end up with a fun, colorful image. Now you notice here that I kind of stamped the bottom of this image with green ink, and I left the top of the stamp uninked. I'm going to go in with the Hero Arts dye ink, which is very similar, and I'm going to ink up the rest of the flower with a yellow ink. I didn't take great care to really have a distinguished line between the green and the yellow. I just kind of have it blended. Now here I'm going to go ahead and create 3 of these. Since I have 3 different teachers for my son, I'm going to create 3 of these at once. And if you watch my videos, you know I like to do multiple pieces at one time. So you'll see me along the way stamp, color, and die cut all 3 of these. Now for the last one, I'm using a soft gray ink here for the little teacup, and then I will go ahead and stamp another image right on top of that. And I also should mention I'm using Nina White cardstock here, but you could pretty much use any cardstock that you have. Okay, I thought I'd add the little sentiment to the inside, this little just for you, and I noticed that this heart stamp set from Simon Says Stamp fits perfectly with that little just for you sentiment. So on a couple of these cups I plan to stamp this little heart right in the center using kind of a red ink here, and then I'll end up coloring this heart a different color just to kind of make it a little extra special for the sentiment. On the third succulent, I'm going to leave the heart off because it's a little cup and it doesn't have room to stamp the heart. And I'll just stamp the greeting directly on top of it. Okay, so now it's time to do some coloring on these guys. If you've watched my videos before, you know that I really enjoy Copics, but I have to say I find it actually easier to color with colored pencils and Gamsol. So you'll see with the colored pencils you can just scribble. You just put down any color that you want in any areas that you want, and you don't have to take any care to blend. First I put down a red, then I put down an orange, and then I quickly put down a yellow. Now this is Gamsol. It's an odorless mineral spirits. I really like this bottle from Inky Antics because it's contained, and you just touch this paper stump to the tip of that bottle, and this paper stump absorbs that moisture of the Gamsol, and you just take that and scribble it over your coloring and it automatically blends for you. You can see how easy this is to do, and you don't have to take great effort. If you want some areas darker, you can put some more color down, then go in with the Gamsol once again and blend it out. Now I know some people have luck with baby oil with this. I haven't had much luck, but that's another product that you can try if you don't want to use the Gamsol. Now here I'm going to just show you again how I took one color of green and put that down. Then I came in with more of an olive green and put scribbles of that down. Now I'm coming in with another green because I was worried I wanted to have more vibrant green in there. You can do this however you want. Now by no means did I have to put this much color down. I just kind of changed my mind on what color I wanted, and you can see I'm going in with a thinner paper stump this time and blending that in very easily. There are different widths of paper stumps, and I really like the variety pack so you can change it up as you're going. Now if you decide you want more color down, you can go ahead and add more on and then blend it again with Gamsol. Now for the flower on top, I'm going to blend the green into the yellow, and then I'll just go ahead and easily do that with the gamsol. So you can see you can blend from two very different colors together into one. Now I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of red ink on the top here. I felt like it kind of got lost. So you can see I added just a little bit of touch of orangish red ink just to make that pop on the top of the flower. So I really love the look of a colored outline to match the coloring that goes on inside of the outlined image. Now the nice thing about the paper stumps is that you can use them from color to color. What I do is I just put some gamsol on the top of on the tip of the paper stump. Then I just kind of scribble it off on paper until it's clean. You can also use a piece of sandpaper that often comes with the gamsol that you can just kind of rub that color off of the paper stump. Sometimes if the tip of my paper stump gets a little too rounded, I'll use my scissors to cut it at an angle to put it back at a point. Here you can see how I blended the teal into the green with very little effort. And if you want to, you can go back and add a little bit of depth with some dark color in the corners, and then just blend that out. Now check out how easy it is to create this red heart. I just put some dark color around the edges. Then I took my gamsol and I start in the area where the color is darkest, and I pull it into the area that's white. And this ends up with lighter color in the center, kind of like a highlight in the center. This is so easy to do, and this is something that I struggle with Copics, and that's why I really like the colored pencils and gamsol in many cases. Now the colored pencils that I'm using in this video are Prismacolored. I also like the Spectrum Noir colored pencils. I think they're both good quality. You can use other colored pencils with gamsol, but these Prismacolor are so buttery. They just go on so smooth, and I think the results are fantastic. You can get a small set of Prismacolored for a pretty good price and just blend different colors together. There's really no need for a huge box with tons of colors. Now here's another good example of the power of gamsol. I'm putting down green color, and then some of my succulents have red tips, so I'm putting a little bit of red down on the tips. Now you saw me cut the tip of my paper stump there so it was nice and sharp. And watch, I can blend that green into the red, and I really get what is, looks real life of the succulents I have that kind of blend from the green to the pink tips. So it's almost impossible to find a color combination that doesn't blend well with the colored pencils and gamsol, whereas with Copics sometimes that can be tricky. And here you can see me going in with some dark color just to kind of enhance it, and every time I go back with that gamsol and blend it in. I also like how colored pencils and gamsol still have a little bit of a hand-drawn look to it, and I really like to have the colored outline. I think it just makes it colorful and special, something different than a black outline. So there we have all three of our pieces colored. Now it's time to cut these out. You could do this by hand, but I decided to use the matching dies for the stamp set. Now to create these little tags that go on top of the sticks to go in the succulents, I need to cut out two at once. So what I'm going to do is fold my paper over so that when I do the die cutting, I'm actually cutting two layers out at one time. So first I have the cup die. Now I am only going to partially die cut this because I don't want to cut the cup away from the succulent. So I am taking my die and I'm placing right over the cup, and I'm going to take a little piece of micropore medical tape, you could use washi tape or painter's tape, to tape this in place so it doesn't move as we're die cutting. Now I'm going to take this and hang it off of my cutting plates. See how the top lip of the cup is hanging off of the cutting plates? That will keep it from cutting there so that it stays one continuous piece, and the only die cutting that will occur is anything between the plates, which happens to only be the bottom of the cup. So I'm going to run this through and you'll see in a moment how that works. This is very easy to do with any die cut machine you may have. I happen to be using the Big Shot here. So there you can see that the cup only die cut through the bottom and the top of the cup is still intact. So now it's time to cut the succulent portion. So now I'm taking the die that matches our little succulent here. I'm going to tape it once again in place using a little bit of tape, and I'm going to partial die cut again. This is very easy to do and a great trick for die cutting. So this time I'm going to let hang off the bottom of the succulent where it goes, where it meets up with the top of the cup, and I'm going to tape it in place onto my plate so it doesn't shift. So the only thing that will die cut is the top of the succulent, the portion that is in between the two cutting plates. So once I pull this out, you'll see that I have it all cut into one piece. Any piece that wasn't completely cut, I can just kind of trim off with my scissors. And just like that, I have my piece die cut, and I have a matching die cut piece because we did two at once. Now I'm going to skip the next one. It's the exact same process, but I did want to show you what the end result looked like. This is one of those cases where having the matching die is very helpful because this succulent I think would be a little bit trickier to cut out. But here you can see how I was able to cut the bottom part first, then the top, and I end up with two pieces cut at once. So that one's ready to go ahead and make our gift tag too. Next I wanted to show you the last one because this one's a little bit different because we have the flower sticking from it. So I'm going to go ahead and partial die cut the cup, leaving the top of the cup hanging off the cutting plates. And I'm going to cut the flower on this one next. So I will do partial die cutting again, where I let the bottom of the flower hang off the cutting plates, so it only cuts the flower itself and not the bottom. And then I will run this through my die cut machine, partially die cutting it. Now with this one, because we have that flower, we're going to have to leave that succulent in the center uncut. So we've cut our flower and we've cut the cup, but I'm going to have to cut the rest of that succulent by hand. It's really not much, and it really saves time that I didn't have to cut that flower out instead. And I finished them off by stamping the sentiment with my favorite black ink, the Hero Arts die ink. Now that we have finished our little succulents here, it's time to put them onto the top of some sticks so they can be put into the succulents to give as gifts. And I wanted to show you how I did that. This is really easy to do. I actually found some sticks. I think they were shish kebab sticks or something in my kitchen, and that's what I'm using. But you could use like a toothpick or a straw to do this. I have my two pieces here. I'm going to put some super strong adhesive down. I'm using Tombow Extreme adhesive, and I'm putting the adhesive on both of the backs of the die cuts that I have here. I'm taking the stick and laying it right into it, and then I'm going to sandwich that between the two die cuts that are covered in the strong adhesive. So this is why I did the die cutting of the two layers, so that we would have this back piece to kind of sandwich the stick in between. So now what I would do when I give this to the teacher is have my son write something on the back of this die cut here, or you could like write it on a little tag and have that kind of tied and hanging from this little succulent die cut that we've created. I just thought this was really a fun way to kind of personalize or make that little succulent gift a little extra special. And I wanted to also show you how you could use the color outline stamping along with the Gamsol. So be sure to click here to watch my video on how I go about potting my succulents. It's very easy to do. If you have questions on the product I use, you can click below or look below my YouTube description, or you can click on over to my blog where I'll have much more information. As always, I really appreciate you taking the time to stop by, and I hope you'll come back soon.